This is the docking station with on-center rotation as it would be used for a 14 by 17 film cassette. The model is built standard, pulls out like so. This actually is a cassette but would represent cassette-sized detectors. Pushed in, it locks in against these white release levers. It rotates horizontally in this case to form the landscape position, and the drawer is closed. This is the same unit with the cover removed. I'm going to pull the drawer out, rotate it to portrait, and release the detector. And now I can show you what the modifications are for your application with a 17-inch by 17-inch flat panel detector. Okay. The modification that we're going to make will prevent the rotating base from rotating over the sliding base. And the way to do that is we're going to continue to use the existing mounting holes, but drill 2 additional holes which will anchor this rotating base to the top of the sliding base. That'll take the rotation out of it. The other thing we're going to do is, because the dimension from here to here right now is 15 inches, which is for the 14-inch dimension of a cassette-sized panel, is we're going to lengthen that by 3 more inches so that the detector is going to extend out to here, and we'll disassemble and remount this rail assembly so that the detector will nest right in here just as it did for the smaller flat panel. I'm going to show you how the grid fits in. This is actually a mock-up of the conventional 17 1/4 by 18 7/8. And the tracks are designed to accommodate grid removal, which requires a slightly larger footprint than the 17 1/4 inch dimension. This mock-up is 17 1/4. If I push it all the way like so, there's still enough material, maybe just a couple millimeters, where the grid is still in position here. So if you're going to be using a fixed grid, you can center it this way if you want, or just let it rest on the downward side because this is going to be a wall stand. Gravity will hold the grid down here, but you might want to secure it either by drilling some holes and running in some set screws, or maybe using some form of tape. If you're going to go with removable grid, I'm going to show you a photograph later of what Raina Imaging can produce, which has a handle and a mating latch plate here for the push-on, push-out for grid removal. Installation of the measuring chamber. These 4 screws, here's 2 and there's 2 more over there, these drive a AEC bracket down and up like so. When you install the measuring chamber, it rests on top of the metal plates that are underneath here, and then you drive the screws upward and it clamps it into the underside of these grid support rails. In order to fit, the measuring chamber can be no more than 472 millimeters across this way. Otherwise it'll bottom out on these screws. If you're using a 450 millimeter wide measuring chamber, it's actually going to fall through between the plates. We're going to address those plates in a newer design to allow that size measuring chamber. So what we need to know in order to ensure your measuring chamber fits is what is the height of the measuring chamber. And when I refer to height, again, it's with this end down and this end up. This 3D model illustrates the position of the AEC bracket on the underside of the black plastic rail. It is shown here as the whitish gray part. There are 4 LED indicators. The one on the far left lights up when the grid is in place. The second one from left is detector present. For the 17 by 17 flat panel, you will not need the L and the P for portrait landscape. This cover is set up to indicate portrait and landscape positions for the 1417 format detectors, period. This isn't exactly appropriate for a 17 by 17, but maybe it would work out, period. We really don't have another option for covers at this time for the square detector. This is just to show where you have some pre-drilled holes for mounting, and this is where the attachment points come on our unit to interface with the wall stand. You can drill additional holes in here in order to catch other locations on the wall stand. You just have to avoid the area here where the steel slides are. So you can drill on this side as long as the screw heads don't interfere with the sliding of the drawer.